Alrighty, what's up everybody? It is I, your tribal god of extreme, Peter Joseph here, for a Tuesday evening, almost Tuesday night video, right here on the Peter Joseph YouTube wrestling channel, youtube.com/Peter Joseph. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down below in the comments, in the description box, in my pants. Do it now. Leave a comment on the video if you like. Little these stupid comments you get sent to the Shadow Realm. Beaten severely, Ozzy and Satan will come out and eat your soul. That's that. Share the video all over the internet. Don't forget to hit that bell for more. If you're brand new here, well, welcome to the party, pal. Grab the cold one and enjoy. And if you, if you're brand new here, welcome to the party, pal. We hope you enjoy the ride. Sit back, relax, grab the cold one. And you know what I mean. I just said that before. Alright, moving on. Alright, no big fancy intro. We got NXT coming up at the top of the hour, so we move on. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, before we get to this week's NXT, let's talk about last week's NXT, and as the title below says, it is time for your NXT Thoughts. You understand? Thoughts for last week. Alright, so as always, our commentary team of Vic Joseph and Booker T. Sucker. We have that. Alright, once again, from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida, the August 4th edition of NXT. We started with an opening recap after, in memoriam to Dory Funk Jr., then the opening recap, looking at the NXT title picture with my cousin Tony D, Grayson Waller, and Mike Santana. We'll hear from them later. But our first match of the evening, women's tag team action, Jada Parker and Thea Hale. They defeated Nikita Lyons and Carmen Petrovic. Pretty decent match. Thea Hale got the win with that garbage middle rope backsplash of hers. Hey, if I wanted the NXT Women's title back, earlier this year, which was, I think, the low point of the year for NXT, just my opinion, but it is what it is. So Thea Hale and Jada get the win over Nikita Lyons and Carmen Petrovic. Match, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. After the match, Natty with the beatdown, 3-on-2 beatdown, but eventually Jada and Thea Hale fight back and clear them out. So we'll see what happens tonight on the program. Alright, Tavion Heights is nervous about the tag team title match with him and Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne. They take on Brad Baylor and Vicky Smokes of the Vanity Project, and they have Michael Lockwood and Jackson Drake. And Miles is like, don't worry, we got this, alright? Calm down, tranquilo. Pretty much. We got that. So we'll see what happens with that. Then we're going to look at Oba beating Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. What happened after that with Oba thanking Brock and Brock retiring. We see all that stuff. We move on. Alright, then my favorite part of the show, my cousin Tony D, the NXT champion, comes out. Not happy with Grayson Waller insulting his title. And basically NXT, the men's roster, and wanting to use NXT as a stepping stone. And as for Mike Santana, well, Grayson comes out, he's on the balcony, he's like, I don't want to see Mike Santana come through the crowd, so me and you are going to talk Tony out of respect. Well, we can talk about respect, but Tony's like, yeah, get down here, we'll talk about some respect there, bruh. Well, cuz, or whatever you want to call him. And then Tony brings up teaming up with Grayson at War Games, I think it was last year. Well, not, a couple years ago, I should say. Back in 2.0. And Grayson being the only member of the team not becoming a champion. Grayson says, I didn't know you had lost your balls along with your family. Ooh, yikes. You do know Adriana Rizzo is back there, Grayson. You forgot? I guess so. So then, Mike Santana comes out, says, Tony didn't call you out here. He called me out here there, Grayson, so you need to shut up. So, Mike says, I've been in your place before, but I proved myself in the ring rather than on the mic. I'm not about to become another statistic on the blocks. I still live on. Still lives in the Bronx, ladies and gentlemen. And Grace is like, how many times are you going to tell the same story there, Mike? And Mike says, hey, you're only fighting for yourself. I'm fighting for my daughter and the fans, and people depend on me. It makes you a man. And then Tony D says, hey, we're going to solve this pretty quickly. How about you have a number one contenders match, and the winner of that faces me at Heatwave for my belt. Simple. Simple, because Tony D is the champ. I mean, come on. You got two guys arguing, like, hey, shut up, fight, the winner gets me. Simple. But, as we all know, tonight's going to end in chicanery. So I smell a triple threat match, player. So, my cousin now has a 33% chance of winning. Combined with the 66% chance of him losing, and then, I'm not going to get into Steiner math. Steiner math gives me a headache. He gives me a headache, Scott. You know why? Because you're fat! I am not fat! Do you look at me? I am not fat! The only thing fat in my body is my... Never mind. I didn't need to know that. Shut up, Scott. Eat your Snickers and shut up! Thank you. Now, moving on right along. He's fat! Shut up! I'm not fat! My dick is, but... Expedition that one. Ho ho! At least I wasn't on steroids! Just saying. But, hey, Medea got to ride Scott Steiner's you-know-what. His steroid-used dick. Wish you could just ride my dick, and I don't even need steroids. Cause I got muscles up the wazoo, I don't like muscles like Scott does, but, I'm pretty strong, too. In more ways than one. Moving on. Alright, my girl Maddie Lankowski, she's nervous about her match with, defending the speed title against Delta. So, the NXT Women's Champion, Kendall Gray, beaten up from that NXT Underground match with Lola Vice, gives her a little bit of a pep talk. And that's pretty much it. Alright, then we get to the speed title match. 5-minute time limit. It ends in a draw as, Maddie got a roll up for a near fall, grabs a suplex, but then Delta rolled through a high cross body. Then they somehow crash out to the floor. They're trying to get in, but the time limit expired. So Maddie, still the women's speed champion. Match was decent, 2.25 out of 5 stars. And then after that, after the match, Delta gives her a quick F5. That's why we have a rematch tonight. I don't know if it's for the speed championship again, or it's for the North American Championship, but we'll see what happens with that. Alright. When the back, Bronco Nima apologizes to his partner, Lucius Price of OTM, about getting distracted last week against the Vanity Project. And everything seems to be okay. They're still on the same page, I guess. And then Lucius Price says, hey, Bronco, I have my backup plan. You need to find your backup plan, since you're going to Triple R to do Paris Del Mal, and I'm going to be stuck in NXT doing nothing. I got to do something. So you got to have a backup plan. So Birthmark come in, Lexus King, the Speed Champion, Charlie Dempsey, Mariah Connors, and Stax Mahomes and Ariana Grace. They come in, they insult both men. And then Lucius Price says, hey, Lexus, how about we have a match? Not for the men's speed title, just a regular match. It gets agreed upon. And then Lucius Price thinks says, yeah, I think I found my backup plan. I'm going to go for the speed title. Joy. For a team that should be the tag team champions. I'm just saying. Breaking them up for no apparent reason because Bronco Nima's going to Triple R to be in Paris Del Mal. I don't know. Alright, 2.25 out of 5 stars for that. Alright, they were in the catering back area. Oh, he did it. Grayson Waller runs into Mrs. Him. About to get married soon. Kaylani Jordan thinks she likes what he's been saying, what he said last week. And then Mason Rook, he's big. He's bad. He'll body slam your dad. Doesn't really think too much of Grayson. Challenges issued, but then Anthony Lou, Cam Hendricks, Mr. Maxine Dupree, well, not for long, but she's basically trying to keep her job with WWE, because if this thing doesn't work with Austin Theory, bye-bye, so long, farewell to you, Maxine, and, probably bye-bye, so long, farewell to Cam Hendricks, Anthony Luke from LFG, and NXT, too, so we got that. So Cam Hendricks runs in, jumps Mason Rook, sets up a big old brawl. I think we got a match tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. 2.5 out of 5 stars. Then we get to the tag team title match. We got the Vanity Project of Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor taking on Miles O'Connor, Ozzy Osbourne, and Tavion Heights. Great match. Getting to the end, a dropkick version of a heart attack puts Miles down for a near fall. Everything breaks down. Miles and Tavion grab stereo power slams. And then then Jackson Drake and Michael Lockwood get involved. They get kicked out. You are out of here. Get out. And then Miles hits Boone again on Ricky Smokes. Tavion with a spinning belly to belly. They go for the cover. 1, 2, 3. We have new NXT Tag Team Champions in Miles and Tavion. So Catch Point 3.1 pretty much now have all the titles. Well, not all the titles. They have gold. Ren, still in the group, has the Women's Speed Championship. Miles has the Men's North American title. And he's now a double champion with the NXT Tag Team titles. So see what happens with that. So, good match. 3 out of 5 stars, and that's that. Alright, then we get a look at Lola Faisese winning the women's title at Stand and Deliver. Gotta do the pose. Like the Yes Boys. And a triple threat match with Kendall Gray involved and JC Jane. Even though Kendall doesn't get pinned. We got that. Alright, then with the back, the Vanity Project are walking. They're pissed. And then Michael Lockwood sees Kiana Carver again. And he's like, yeah, I want that big black cock. It's weird. Micah goes and hangs out with Jackson Drake, a guy that's, like, smaller than her. Then she looks at somebody, like, big, like Kiana Carver. He's like, she wants that BBC, baby. Who doesn't? I mean, come on. Moving on from that. Alright, then the Cucklings surround Lizzie Rain, the resident rocker chick. But then the chairman of the board, Sean Spears comes in with a chair, obviously. Cuts that off. We got a mixed tag team match coming up tonight. And then Lizzie doesn't really trust Sean Spears, warns him that she'll turn on him if even given a reason. So she leaves, and Sean Spears is like, smart girl. And then left. We move on. Alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. Then we get to Kiana Carver and E.K. Prosper, Eli Knight. Again, this thing's like that third match. I mean, E.K. has really had Kiana's number. Not this time, because a Swanton Blockbuster gives E.K. a near fall. Kiana Carver powerbombs him for the same. E.K. gets in a Shining Wizard, tries a moonsault. Only have to bail to avoid some raised boots. And then Kiana pulls him into a small package. Of all things, a small package from the big man? Gets the win in under 11 minutes, so he finally gets the win. I don't know what's going to happen there. And we move on. Alright, we're going to recap of last week's show. This is what I'm talking about. And now, Lizzie Rain is, I think in gorilla position. Is Shawn Michaels. You can see him barely in the background. And then Nico and Izzy Dame are heading to the ring. So we're going to start off with that mixed tag team match with Nico and Izzy Dame versus Lizzie Rain and the chairman of the board, Sean Spears. Should be exciting. We get that. Alright, so Kiana Carver finally gets that monkey off his back. That's E.K. Prosper. Gets the win. So 1 and 2 for EK. So we'll see what happens with Keanu. What's next for him? Is he gonna have like a romance with Michael Lockwood? Kind of weird, but okay, we'll go with that. And we move on. Well, good match though. 3 out of 5 stars. All right, Dion Lennox of Dark State is not happy with their win. Their win last week because Saquon is still walking around. Yeah, they beat Saquon and Romeo Moreno and Noam Dar in a 6-man tag last week. Yeah. So Dion's pissed because Saquon Sugar's still standing, still walking around, still kind of hanging out with Noam Dar and Romeo Moreno. So he says, we're going to take care of them next week, which means tonight. So we'll see what happens with that. I think Dion is facing somebody, I think, tonight. I think Darkseid are in action tonight. Oh, we got that. Alright, it's time to rock and roll! Scream for me, NXT! Ah! Oh yeah, man! Booker T going crazy as always. Izzy's getting in the ring really quickly, going right after Izzy Dane without Shawn Spears even coming out. Okay. You know, all Lizzie Ray needs is her dad, Clive Burton. Or she just needs a guy to dress up as Eddie Maiden. Up the irons, you fuckers. I know it's too much metal for you, but this is too much. Metal? Too much metal. We get that. Alright, moving on. Alright, so we'll see what happens with Dark State and Saquon Sugars this week. We move on. Alright, Kendall Gray, we see her beating Lola at the Great American Bash to become the NXT Women's Champion. Lola praised her, but wasn't done, so we get the challenge for NXT Underground, which is actually last week's show. So we got that. And, I think that was it. I might have missed some stuff. Okay, I didn't miss anything. Alright, after that, my good buddy, he follows me on Twitter, good man, Shiloh Hill. We find out he has a facial fracture, I think from that match with Tristan Angel. He's gonna be out a little bit, can't train. So he's been researching some wrestling trivia for us. Finds it interesting that there is no footage or witnesses or anything about Pat Patterson's Intercontinental title win in Rio de Janeiro. Damn, we're going back to like 1983? 82, 83? Before he lost to the Chico Santana? Who then lost to guess who? Our good buddy Randy Macho Man Savage. Oh, yeah! Get it! Randy, you remember that match, right? Who's this guy? Oh, it's E.K. Prosper? What is he doing here? Where's Shawn Spears? I don't get it. Maybe Shawn Spears got attacked or something? I don't get why E.K. Prosper is in this fucking match. Okay, we'll go with that. Anyway, so yeah. Randy, you remember that match where you won the title in the Boston Garden in 1983-84? From Chico Santana becoming the Intercontinental Champion, one of the longest reigning at that time. After that, well, after you won it, obviously. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, it was yesterday. And after that, I met Miss Elizabeth. Isn't that right, Miss Elizabeth? That's right, Randy. Hi, Mr. Joseph. How you doing? You look great. I know. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. You look great, too. You having fun? You have a good dinner? Oh, you about to have a good dinner up there? Yeah, good. Randy, you treat her nice, you know. What do you mean? I don't always treat her nice. Nah, I haven't heard. That's not what I heard. That's not what I heard, Randy. Well, you're wrong. I'm the Macho Man. Girls love me. I gotta get them away from me. Miss Elizabeth, is gonna get a little jealous up here with all the ladies up here. Ooh, yeah. Well, you just stay true to Liz, and you just tell the ladies that there's too much madness to go around. You can't have all that. Come on now. Give them all the Terry Hogan, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother. Shut up, Terry. Not you, Funk. Not you, Sabu. Can you just change your names up there? Instead of going by your government names up there? What do you care? I was a hardcore legend in Japan. Oh, no, that's Terry, not now. No, no need there. In Japan, #1, forever! Ain't that right, Dory? Forever! Okay. Hi, Dory, we miss you. Sorry, you're up there now. But it is what it is. Don't talk to my brother like that, you pencil neck! Hey, that's, Freddie Blassie says that. You can't call me a pencil neck geek. Jerry, leave me alone! Cactus, you idiot! Are you eating your Doritos again? Yeah, they're very tasty. Would you like some? No, Cactus. I don't eat that stuff up here. We eating tobacco or something. Leave me alone, Cactus. Oh, bye, Terry. Have a nice day. Okay. Guys, get away. Go to bed. So let's do something. Satire. Thank you. Learn it. Alright, we get that. So Shadow's talking about Pat Patterson's Intercontinental title win in Rio. Her name is Rio, and she dances on my lap. And when they're done, she goes and takes a nap. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, Rio. By the way, fun fact for you musicians out there. Duran Duran shot Rio, guess where? In Rio de Janeiro. Ha! Fun fact. There will be a test. Alright, moving on. And the poison mist that Asuka and Tajiri and others use, it originated in Texas. Really now? I thought it originated in Japan. Muda. I didn't think it originated in Texas. Go figure that one out. Shadow's one. Yeah, Shadow's kind of weird, but I'm like, I'm happy to get all this wrestling knowledge. I think they did a few episodes of Jeopardy with a lot of wrestling questions. Well, Celebrity Jeopardy, they had a few questions in between regular Jeopardy with wrestling questions, and half the fucking contestants like, oh, what? I would have swept that category. Easy. I'm just saying. Because I know more about wrestling than you do. Change my glasses for a second. Anyway, moving on. So that was nice for Shadow. Alright, then we get another tribute to Dory Funk Jr. Okay, we got that. And then Mike Santana goes into Robbie E's office. He confirms the number one contenders match with Grayson Waller and Mike Santana. So that works for Mike, but then Order! My buddy follows me on Twitter too. Kristen Angels comes in. He doesn't like someone new being here, meaning Mike Santana. But Mike points out that he's been here a whole bunch of times. Where were you? And Tristan has only been here for 3 months. Point to Mike Santana. So, yeah, Tristan, I think you stay in the back. Stay there. You don't want to fight Mike Santana, dude. No. Don't even try. Look at that. Alright. 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. Then we get to NXT Underground for the NXT Women's title. Kendall Gray and Luna Vice. Woo! What can I say? This match was epic. Scary and epic at the same time. We know Lola has won every NXT Underground match. I think there's been 6, and she's won them all. You know, we see Hank and Tank out there, a few from LFG, a few from Evolve. We get that. Let's get to the scary spot of the match. They're on the apron. Well, basically, they're on the apron. There's no ropes, obviously. And then Kendall, I think Lola tripped Kendall, and Kendall was supposed to land on the steps, like face first, but then she landed on her ear and ripped her ear. Oh, boy. She was out of it. Her equilibrium was off. Her bleeding from her right ear, not her left there, Vic. Oh, it looked nasty. And then they had to stop the match for a while. I'm like, just give Lola the belt. Nobody cares. No. So, Lola gets the tape and like, I'll do it myself. You're like, holy shit. And they go at it. And Lola hits a spin kick. I was like, damn, she's done. She is done. But somehow, some way, ladies and gentlemen, somehow, some way, Lola is choked, Lola gets in a rear naked choke, but, Kendall gets up, and then kind of locks Lola in this weird, like, almost like a, crossface, or like a torque to the crossface, and Lola tapped out for the first time in NXT Underground history, so her first loss. But this was her go away match. She's going to NXT. She's going to the main roster. Obviously going on SmackDown to be with her boy toy, Poppy Priest. So great match. 4.25 out of 5 stars. Kendall is still the champ, but she is pretty much banged up. So we got, like, Kaylee Armstrong. We're going to hear from her tonight. A lot of challengers on the horizon for Kendall. I think Kaylee Armstrong is next, probably, but we'll see. You got Izzy Dame looking, around the corner. A couple other people looking, Jada Parker. So, but Kendall is banged up. I'm surprised she's finished the match. I think she has a concussion. Her equilibrium was off. So I'm thinking with the week off rest, they took her off. I think they had NXT house shows this weekend. I think it's this weekend or last week. I forget. But anyway, took her off that. So I think they let her stay home. Let her get her equilibrium back. See if she passes concussion protocol and whatever. But gotta give it to Kendall. She took a beating. I mean, and I'm not saying Lola Vice tripped her and made her fall and land like that, but accidents happen. That wasn't even an accident. So we get that. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, Kendall Great, still the NXT Women's Champion. Lola Vice gets her flowers. Poppy Priest was there. It was just way after the show ended. So they gave her flowers, and now we'll probably see Lola maybe on SmackDown this week or pretty damn soon. That's gonna be great for the women's interim women's title division, the U.S. title division, and I don't know if she's still gonna be in Triple A. I mean, we have to see what happens with that. But we move on. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I gave NXT last week 7.25 out of 10 stars. Let me know what you guys thought of the show down below in the comment section, like Trick Witty would say. Let's talk about it. And that's that. Alright, EK Prosper and Lizzie Rain get the win over Nico and Izzy Dame. I don't think we didn't really see Mr. Sean Spears because I might have missed it, the ending. But I think EK pinned Nico. We get that. Alright, so we get that. So, decent match there. Alright, now we're going to, afterwards with the NXT Tag Team Champions. Might also call them Ozzy Osbourne and Tavion, celebrating the win in the locker room with the other members of NXT. Pretty much most of the tag team division. Noam Dar, Romeo Moreno, Shawn Legacy, Dorian Van Dux, OTM. I think Hank and Spank are there. The Pastor, Jasper Troy is there. Harlem Lewis, Mason Rook, Shawn Legacy. They're there. So, we'll see what happens with who's next for those. Harlem Lewis, the men's Evolve champion, by the way, now. Elijah Holyfield is there? Wow. Elijah's doing some good stuff on Evolve. If you haven't seen it, he's been on a few episodes. Not that I watched most of them, but he's done good stuff with LFG. Yeah, he had that little run-in with Bubba Ray Dudley on, I think, a week or two ago on LFG. Alright, so Tavion and Tavion's like, we're going to be fighting champions, and then Romeo Moreno's like, oh, we're going to get the first crack. Yeah, right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, now we see Maddie Winkowski and Kendall Gray. Kendall's getting her ear taped up from the trainer. And, so, the trainer says that Kendall will be medically cleared, next week. So, we're going to see her on the outside of the ring, obviously on the outside of the ring, as she's going to lead Maddie in her rematch against Delta. So, that's good. So, I guess we're not going to find out what's going to happen with Kendall and who her next challenger could be at Heatwave. I mean, we're 2 weeks away, and we need a challenger. I don't know if she's going to be fighting on the pay-per-view. I mean, like I said, we're 20 days away, so we got 2 more shows to go, and most of the card is pretty much set up for Heatwave. I think we're going to get a triple threat match for the NXT title with my cousin Tony D, Mike Santana, Grayson. That's one match easily, and then we'll see where else they fit things, and that's that. But we'll see. But that's that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. 7.25 out of 10 stars for NXT. Last week. We'll see what happens this week, the rest of the show. Should be good. I mean, a decent opening match. We had a nice little segment with Kendall and Maddie. Like I said, Kendall is a week away from coming back to action, getting medically cleared. And then we had Tavion and Miles celebrating their victory with the other tag teams, Mason Rook and company, and stuff like that. Alright, so I am out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. I will shut up now. Until next time, peace!